What's growing on, everybody? So today at the pond, making a good biofilter and experimenting with what plants will help clean the water and clone and grow and produce more. This is the filter pump. From the bottom, all of the pond water, all of the nutrition from the fish is getting stuck in biochar. This is about 2/3 full of biochar. And you can see how clear the water is. Alright. And we have watercress and a bunch of really cool water plants, water lettuce and duck grass. We have a bunch of house plants, and then we have king chong, the water spinach, one of my favorite aquaculture vegetables. You'll see it mostly in Asian markets, not so much if you're familiar with anything else. But this is one of the best plants I found to grow. It's unlimited food, and it grows almost faster than anything else. You can almost hear it growing. And we've got potatoes growing in the aquaculture. Shall we see what the potatoes look like? Oh my goodness. Have you ever grown potatoes in an aquaculture? How fun. Mistaponics works really good. So look at how vibrant they are. Now I kind of have to adjust things in here sometimes. Trying to keep shade over some plants. This one needs a little bit of adjustment. There you go. Now it's poking up right, so it'll shade. Now the water is super clear. We got great parameters. Well, this is a globe willow. I want to fill it all up with pots and duck grass, so the duck grass flows in and feeds all the fish, and then shelters. And then when we have too much duck grass, I'll use it as a fertilizer in the beds. And a lot of aquacultures, all different experiments, what kind of plants we can grow, where we can grow them, what kind of sun, what kind of filtered water. When we come over here, there's a bunch of reeds and bamboo. Well, Texas bamboo. It's not like other bamboos unless you've been here or other places that are the desert. But amongst it we have water lettuce. And we have mint. Oh, almost fell in. We have mint plants. We have king chong. We have a bunch of water lettuce. Now there's some biochar floating, but that's a carbon sink. It's also helping filter the water. Now all these reed beds are giving the baby fish a place to live. So the more, if we want to have a bunch of baby fish, all these fancy guppies and any other fish we put in here, pretty much a whole fish tank, a whole pet store eventually in all these ponds in a moment in time, hopefully. Or, that's my wish. But we need to have a reed bed, and we need to have lots of plants so that the bigger fish don't eat the baby fish. Now right there, you can see a lily pad, and they make the most beautiful smelling pink purple flowers. And then over here there's another lily pad, and there's many lily pads, and there's at least one in every pond. Now here's another little biofilter, so it's always upgrading, but this one is culturing duck grass and water lettuce and reeds and king chong. And they're all working. You can see the substrate in there is biochar. So this has got a bag of biochar and a bunch of biochar in there, and I'll keep feeding it up. There were some fish in here, but we move this pipe sometimes and then it dries up because each one of these has a hole in the bottom. But eventually, when the roots and everything grows in, they will all hold water a lot longer. So I'll put some more fish in here, and so they'll like fall down. But I have observed that baby fish, especially guppies, get sucked up into pumps, and then they end up here all on their own. So all these fancy guppies, it's hard to see them, but they're everywhere, and we got a whole bunch of them, and then they're breeding like crazy. So then we've got the aquaculture. Now, eventually, a moment in time, you'll see this little aquaculture with different food grade PVC pipes and stuff. We're gonna run a line a whole way around, down and back and forth, where you could harvest, and that way we can go vertical. So this square footage right here that this is doing is way more plants than we could grow just on the ground, if that makes sense. Oh, here's a bunch of mint. I am cloning 3 varieties of mint, and then we're putting them between all the rocks around the pond and then they're gonna reach over and then dip down. They're gonna hold the walls up, and they're gonna make smell good, and it's gonna be so much mint the whole way around. I've already planted it, except over here where I don't have rocks. I need it like we're getting rocks. We got stuff. Yeah. So cardboard. It is a bit fugly, I'll admit it, but if you use it properly, in a windy place it's a lot harder because you always have to adjust it till you have something to hold it down, like wood chips, right? But to sheet mulch, and yeah, it has some plastic and some stuff, but the roly-polies and all that stuff eat it, and then you just, as you're gardening and weeding, you got to do microplastic no matter where. Outside of this greenhouse, there's probably more plastic that blows in on the wind than I've brought in on the cardboard. But, so always do your microplastics. It's just what it is. But, you know, shoots. Plastics, you know. So plastic is useful. It is useful. Let's recycle it. Maybe they get 3D printers that recycle the plastic. Okay, so how do we use the inputs? Then over a moment in time, you get all the inputs you need, and then you've got the Garden of Eden. So like one bite at a time, one shovelful at a time to eat this elephant. Or you invite the whole village and you potluck and you play music and everyone hangs out. On a side note, we have hollyhocks here. And there's a raspberry. It's beautiful. There's a date palm. Here's a flowering goji berry. So goji berry, I've observed, works really good in this region. And you know, I sell pots for $30 a pot because it'll do more work for you than anything else. It's a nitrogen fixer. It's edible. It's a superfood. $20 a pound for fruit. And if you just keep cloning it, I have 4 varieties of goji berry, 1 wild. Yeah. Anyways, so building the nursery, it's like Noah's Ark. What works? Where you're at. Other places I've grown cacao and vanilla. I like to grow figs here, you know, like you could. I got cacao and vanilla, but they don't seem to make it in this environment. That's a cook pine we got for Christmas. I'm hoping it's going to come back from the roots, but it looks a little pal. Well, so this is a good example of chop and drop. So we'll shed it. It's a little bit brutal, but it's super crunchy, and there's a whole bunch of stuff underneath it, and it's super spiny when I touched it with my hand, so. Alright, so it's all crunchy down to there. There might be some life force, but I don't think so. I'm going to come through with my pruning shears and clean this up. We'll use this as mulch. So, chop and drop. Oh, see, these ones are still alive. I'm going to prune the tops. That was a little brutal. Sorry. I thought it was completely dead, but it's still alive right here. And right here, and right here, and right here. The rest was definitely crunchy.